The Rhett Palmer broadcast is brought to you by Complete Electric Complete Alarm. Get your generator checked now before the next hurricane strikes. Call the good folks at Complete Electric Complete Alarm. You'll be safe and sound when the next hurricane strikes. Call Complete Electric Complete Alarm.
The Minutemen answered the call during the American Revolution. Now, Minuteman Press answers the call with custom print and design services designed to promote your business like nobody's business. They lead the charge, but never overcharge for great design, print, and promotional materials. Minuteman Press in Vero Beach and now in Port St. Lucie. Ready to answer the call. Google Minuteman Press or visit pslminutemanpress.com.
They say you sleep a third of your life. So why is shopping for a mattress so important? There's a mattress store on every corner. But when you visit the Mattress Market store, you'll find Steve and his family, in business for 35 years, waiting to help you find the best mattress at the best price to give you the best night's sleep. All the major brands: Serta Perfect Sleeper, Simmons Beauty Rest, Posh and Lavish, Urban Loft Ice, Pure Latex Bliss, I Love My Pillow, Kingsdown, Biscayne Bedding, and many more. US 1 right next to Waves. Mattress Market in Vero Beach for a good night's sleep and a great deal. Mattress Market.
Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves, is ready to go. Talking to people you want to know. Face to face, one-on-one. Get the story and have some fun with Rhett Palmer.
And now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
I got ripped off for thousands of dollars a few years ago. The people around me at the time did not protect my equipment, and also one of my board engineers opened up an email he shouldn't have opened up. Cybersecurity. Okay, the guy sitting across from me is Brian Artigas. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
And he was brought in for show and tell by
Jürgen.
Jürgen
Schwanitz. Yes.
And were you born in Germany?
Yes, I was.
Oh, you were? Okay. Because you have a good accent there.
I do.
We
Yeah.
radio people love accents.
Okay.
Make some more dramatic.
I'll turn up my accent then.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yes, natürlich.
I've only been to Germany once, but man, good fish with a white cream sauce and the French fries. Woo, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, managing your business risk in the cybersecurity minefield. And as I said, Mr. B opened up, or well, I didn't say that, but now I will. Mr. B opened up an email a few years back, and it did cost us thousands of dollars. So you have written this book. It says featuring you, so you've obviously wrote it with some other experts?
Yes, it's co-written with, I believe that one, there's two of them. That one I wrote with 19 other cybersecurity experts.
What is nice about this, being a guy I've had over 40,000 interviews in 28 years, a lot of authors, is I like the font you chose, very easy to read. And that is important. Most people don't realize, and it is a bigger font, but most people don't know that I used to work at a medical college, and this was 40 years ago. They always used the bigger print for the medical because they do all-nighters. They're constantly reading. So I think we all should step up and just make it easier, a bigger font. But anyway, I applaud the fact that it's very readable, and I'm looking forward to reading it. So, what is the number one security failure that pulls down businesses in this days and age? It cost me thousands of dollars.
People are the number one vulnerability in most networks.
Now, do you mean the people that are on my side or the evil people that are on the other side?
It's usually the employees, and it's not purposeful. It's not.
Right.
It's a security awareness issue, where we started more in the healthcare sector with HIPAA and stuff like that, and as so HIPAA training is a big deal, making sure that everyone understands privacy and everything like that. When you go into general cybersecurity with what should be required with most businesses, it's making sure that the employees can recognize a phishing email, make sure that employees can recognize a scam, and they're getting better and better. You're not it used to be, oh well, is there an accent? A lot of these scammers come out of
when they call, you mean? Yeah.
yeah, they come out of India and stuff like that.
Don't do
But-
that. I've got him. You make $1 million. Yeah. You've won the lottery. All you have to do is send me $150.
Yeah.
And we will release this money to you.
So they're getting better and better. They don't have an accent. They're hiring call centers in the U.S. And these scam organizations, they are organizations. I mean, they have hundreds, if not thousands, of employees. They have HR departments. They have a front that is completely legal, and they take a section of the organization, and then that's what they use for their scams. And then they rotate their employees around, just like a bank would. One of the ways of securing an organization is to have a employee rotation. And that's so that you don't have an employee become too comfortable once they understand how the system works. Sometimes when you're in a hurry, you'll try to subvert certain parts of the system for convenience. So what large organizations will do is they'll move people around. Part of it is for cross-training, which helps if you have an employee out or something like that. But then part of it is also a step in security.
Let me ask you this. Now, you worked for Jurgen years ago as a teenager or a young man?
I was 17 when I started working for
17.
Jurgen.
Now you're now 42. So here you've been around long. How do you feel about that? One of your employees comes back at 42.
Well, I'm very proud of him.
Yeah.
He's done amazing.
And by the way,
So-
Jurgen owns ACT Computers here at Vero Beach. Been in business, I think, 27?
27 years now. yes.
27 years, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
And you have a great reputation.
Thank you.
That's ACT Computers. And so what did you do when you were first working? What I want to know is, what did you do for Jurgen when you were with ACT Computers? And then how did you decide, and why did you decide to he speaks very highly of you, by the way. When did you decide to get into cybersecurity? What was the attraction?
Well, starting out with ACT Computers, the very first job that Jurgen gave me was sorting screws. So we had fine thread and coarse thread, and my job was to sit there and sort them.
Talk about the bottom
Oh,
up.
boy.
He's turning red now. Huh?
I remember that.
Sorting his skills. Well, you gave him maybe taught you a little humility, right?
He did.
Parsing them out is very important.
What's that? What did you say?
I had no idea.
What did you say, Noah?
Parsing them out is very important. I accidentally fried my motherboard by putting the wrong kind in. It cost me $400 of new parts.
So I was doing computer repair when I started working for Jurgen.
Yeah.
A few years later, I started my own business, and I had moved down to Jupiter and started a business. And
Why Jupiter?
I like the atmosphere. I like the town. So, that's where I moved to. I was 21 years old when I moved there.
Really?
And
Did you have any connection to the area, or just were driving through and decided, hey, I like this?
just had a buddy that moved down there. I went to visit him and hang out with him for the day. I was like, oh, I really like it here, and decided to
it
make
does
the
have
move.
it has its own atmosphere, and when you're 21, it is very natural for the natural rebellion to say, hey, I'm jumping the nest. I want to start my own life and start afresh somewhere else.
Yep. And it was a quiet town, so at the time, Vero was a quiet town.
Yeah.
And it was close enough to West Palm that if, wanted to go have some fun, I could go down to West Palm.
But also in Jupiter, you have some really high-end business owners. Obviously we know that's where Tiger Woods lives. It's where a whole bunch of famous people live, and very successful people. So it's the business. So the cybersecurity. Why cybersecurity? What was the attraction?
So we started off in medical. There's a lot of medical up in Jupiter, and that was just kind of naturally the direction that we went as a company. We were focused on HIPAA, so everybody in my company, we got certified for HIPAA. This is 2013, I think.
Yeah.
And, we did work for a lot of doctors' offices, and it was a natural progression to go into cybersecurity as things changed over the last few years, especially since COVID. We were doing cybersecurity longer than that, but really since COVID, the attacks have gone up significantly. And then since the Ukraine invasion, it's gone through the roof.
Why? Why is it going through the roof since the Ukraine invasion?
It's part of the offensive. So we got a statistic.
So the Russians?
Yeah. So we got it. Well, it's not just Russians. I mean, with COVID, that's since the Ukraine invasion, but with COVID, they were taking advantage of people going remote. They were taking advantage of people working from home.
Businesses, okay,
Right.
yeah.
Because
they got five. Let's say they got $5,000 out of me. So if you have 10 people, you get $5,000 out of it in one day.
Oh yeah.
That's 50,000 a day. 50,000 a day times 20. So 10 times 50. That's 500. That's $1 million a month.
They yeah. So there's a YouTube video by Mark Rober. They actually exposed one of the organizations, and they did something like $67,000 a day. And that's just one of the Indian-based organizations. And these organizations are all over the world. They're not just in India.
Well, there's some kid here, supposedly 19, he's grossing $400,000 a month. And one of the kids I know work for, I don't know his name, I have no idea what it is, but I think it's involved with pornography. But here's this 19-year-old making $400,000, did I say a month? I think it is, yeah. That's what, $5 million a year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. But, you know.
And I'm sitting around going, would you like to buy some ads on my radio show? But you know what? Ill-gotten gain, the Bible says ill-gotten gain grows wings and takes flight. You know, cartel. I was just at an event for Christian filmmaking, and there's a man there who's had a conversion experience. But he was deep in the cartel. He said, I was making $40,000 a week, and he said, I had millions of dollars. And I said, I've always wanted to ask this of somebody at the cartel. Why, you got a few $1,000,000 bucks. Why don't you just stop? Go to the beach with your girl. Enjoy life. Vacation. Make some investments and just relax. He says, because you want more. The greed and the power and the power and the greed. It corrupts people.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, and then they get caught or whatever. And in fact, this guy, but he became a Christian and was totally converted. And I haven't done the interview yet, but we're going to do it. And I'm very excited about it. We're a former guy in the cartel. You know, these people want more. So next time you go to you go to a resort down in the Caribbean, and there's some Russian guy who's got the $10,000 a night apartment up there, you know. Yeah, that's some of my money. I mean, just it's stupid money.
Yeah, greed is never good in any situation of life. So
And-
that will
and-
never
and-
get you
and-
anywhere.
Yeah, and
So,
everything is about what you guys are about today. I mean, now my show is, I haven't monetized it, but we're number 34 in Sweden, number 40 something in Austria. That's great for my ego, but even statewide, it's like remarkable how many, and now, you know, for years, you grew up here, so you knew who Rhett Palmer was, big billboards and stuff. So I'm trying to convince everybody to listen to talk. Oh no, I'm into music. So I had a select few. It usually is the very wealthy, those who are running companies, or those who are in management, intelligent people. Now it could be your long guy too, but if he's an entrepreneur, smart. But it had to be so stupid people didn't listen to it. Okay. So I'm thinking a few years ago with these little sound bites. People are only capable of sound bites. I'll be out of business in 4 or 5 years. Nobody wants to listen to a 2-hour interview. And, you know, blah, blah. All of a sudden, talk radio is the #1 format. But it's not called talk radio. It's called
Podcasting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's insane. You know this. We have a young son he's a doctor of archaeology. Listens to podcasts every night. Everybody I run into that has any semblance of intellect, even those who don't, they're all into these podcasts. It's crazy. How did this happen?
Well, it's technology too, because nowadays anybody from their home can do a professional broadcast. YouTubers do it now.
You say professional. Now I understand that way professional. The cameras, everything.
Right.
But recently I run into a lot of this. Now this is going to sound arrogant. Not everybody can be a talk host who thinks they can.
No.
Because I saw a very famous actress with a very famous singer, and they're fawning all over. You know, they're teens or maybe they're in their early 20s, fawning all over each other. And I go, oh my God, there's no content to this whatsoever.
Right.
So I think I should start a school to teach the kids. You really want to be a good interviewer?
Yeah.
Come to the Palmer School
Good idea.
of podcasting and interviewing.
I think that's a
So
good
anyway,
idea. Yeah.
but I'm all excited about having you here. And your new book, by the way, we have another book that just came out. The first one is called Managing Your Business Risk in the Cybersecurity Minefield, featuring Brian Artigas. And what's the name of your company?
Allstate Computers.
Allstate Computers. And the other one is Why Your Business Must Have. This is a brand new one, right?
That one just came out, yep.
Why Your Business Must Have Cybersecurity Risk Assessments. Learn the reasons why from 14 cybersecurity risk experts. Wow, this is good stuff.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to do it today.
Yeah. If the businesses, there's a lot of businesses that unfortunately think, oh, I'm too small. They're never going to come after me. And these guys throw a
Like
cast
me,
net.
I'm a little business guy.
But they throw a cast net. they're not targeting specifically Brett Palmer.
Yeah.
They're just throwing a cast net in your direction, and somebody literally they took the phishing bait, and they opened the email, and then it spread from there. And then once they get what's called a business email compromise, meaning they get into your account, they then use your name to send out a bunch of other emails. They've already got that trust level that you have created with the people that you correspond with. So then that's how it's a domino effect, and it keeps on going and going.
Yeah.
It's really pernicious. I know that there's one now. A lot of men we've all traveled around. We're curious. I mean, I read Playboy magazine when I was a kid. So maybe on the internet you've looked at some pornography. Well, there's this one group that comes out and they say, "Oh, wow, we saw you're on looking at pornography. And by the way, you have good taste. You remember you have good taste. But we know, and we're going to expose what you were looking at."
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the entire community, and you'll be out of business, blah blah blah. But you have to pay us $5,000.
Yeah, that was a very popular email a couple of years ago.
Yeah. It's all fake.
A scare email type.
They knew
We're still seeing them. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Still
the
seeing 'em.
males,
Yeah.
predominantly have looked at something that they wouldn't want the world to know they're looking at. And women too.
They don't, actually, the most recent report I got from came to a woman. She's like, "I don't do any of that. Why am I getting this email?" It's like, it's a scam.
Yeah, it's a scam.
Yeah, they're just trying to scare you.
But I got an email from Chase. I have a Chase credit card that has their logo. Now, I've had you on, I've had Jurgen on, and years ago I've had other people in the computer world on. And so you would think, as a talk host, I hear all this. And yet I'm there, I'm about to press the button. "Oh, you've been compromised and we need your social." I said, "Wait a second." But, I have the benefit of having experts like you guys on.
Yeah, and don't feel bad about that. I mean, because, even ourselves here, I got an email a couple of weeks ago that came from Apple and saying, I need to check my Apple account, blah, blah, blah. And it looked really good. I looked at it. I had to look twice to make sure it's
And this is what
really,
you do for a living.
Yeah. So, you have to imagine these
And
companies.
it wasn't. It was
It was fake. But you imagine these companies, all they do is they concentrate on scamming you out of your hard-earned money.
Yeah, it's their day job.
So they have all these ideas that we never
Your
even think
car's
about.
warranty is up. What's with those people?
Well, mine was up 3 times last month. So.
They won't warranty my '84 DeLorean.
The other thing is going to be what about price-wise? Now, are you two competitors, or is he a specialist that you use, or how does this work?
No, we're not competitors. We always work together.
Always work.
So he has his specialties. I have my specialties.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for a small businessman, are you also we think a small business, I can't afford this guy, but can we afford you?
Well, at the end of the day, when we price something, it's based on what's needed. A lot of guys will go out there and just throw a number out there and say, "This is what it is." We don't prescribe anything until we've done a diagnostic. So we go through and do a risk assessment, look at the network, look at everything that's going on, look at the type of data they have, and we base our solution off of that. So we don't just have a canned solution that we roll out to everybody. We have some very basic tools that we put on everybody, but it's just like you have a computer. There's some very basic stuff you need to protect that. But the solution for a doctor's office will be different than a solution for a law office or an accountant or something like that. They may have some similarities, but we're protecting different data. Where that data exists on their network or the cloud, depends on the kind of solution.
Now, in the past, I would say, well, the more this happens, the more secure we're becoming, the more we're learning. The bad news is, though, we're making such inroads. We're at the embryonic stages of discovery, and so there's always something new coming on.
Yeah. What we see as general is that, technology moves so fast, and the security always lags behind.
Yeah.
We always see this shiny thing out there we want to buy at the big box store. So, oh wow, this thing goes on the internet. So now my toaster goes online, or my dishwasher tells me when the dishes are clean. But we don't check to see if these things are actually secure.
Well, what happens? That's right. And what happens is, I interviewed a convict years ago, and he made an enormous amount. He was brilliant. I said, "Why don't you go into legitimate business? You'll be a wealthy man."
Yeah.
They like the challenge. So what happens is you come up with something new, and they want to figure out how they can break in.
Yeah.
It's like this challenge. And then today's world, how many people have been caught? And the U.S. government will come to say, "You just got 50 years in jail, but if you can work with us, we'll give you $200,000 a year, an apartment in Washington, and you'll have your freedom. Okay, I'll take the deal.
Yeah, and for businesses, we see in general is, like you said, is employee training is the number one thing, always
Yes.
is.
Ongoing training,
Ongoing training, always.
not just once a year.
Yep.
Ongoing, because those scams are coming out
There
all the
is
time.
things all the time. The old thing of opening up an email attachment is still around. I mean, that's the number one way people get into machines again.
So what should you not open? How do you know not to open? If you don't know the person, don't open it?
And generally don't open much of anything. I mean, that's the whole idea. I mean,
It's
if you're
kind of
not
killed
abs-
email advertising.
Well,
hasn't it?
yeah, it does.
It's important to have filtering solution in
yeah.
place. It's one thing to open the email. It's another thing to open an attachment or follow a link or something like that. They can embed malware into pictures and stuff like that. So, if you're getting an email that's asking for any kind of information and you think it's from somebody you know, make sure that you call that person. Get some sort of verification that they did send that to you. If you're getting an email from somebody and it's asking you to enter a password or something like that, think twice about it, because that's exactly how phishing emails happen. Call your IT professional, whether it's me, whether it's Jurgen, or your own IT professional. I always encourage my clients, if you have an email of questions, send it to me. We'll look at the headers. We'll look at the details in the email. We'll make sure that it's...
Well, you're no danger if we forward it to you without opening it?
We go through a lot of training, and a lot of times we'll open it in a separate machine, a sandbox.
Yeah.
We'll open it up in a separate computer that I don't care if it gets infected. We'll just blow it out and start a new one.
Now, 15 years ago, I had a nephew, and I will say he was 16 or something. Oh, hey, Uncle Rhett, look what we did. We found you can get these. This was something to do with telephones, or they're worth $10 each, these coupons. And they got 1,000 of them. And I had to look at these kids and say, they're like, oh, look what we got away with. And I'm saying, listen, I said, just because you can't see these people, it's still stealing.
Yeah.
Where's your moral code? Because, I don't know about you, but I went through a pilfering stage when I was 9. I stole little Matchbox cars. I got caught in a Woolworths. I was getting the line. I had the money. Boy, that cured me of pilfering. But, kids are getting on, not realizing they're hurting people, too.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that, so...
Yeah, and we talked earlier how COVID changed the whole scenario around when it comes to more attacks on businesses, especially. And
Why? Because most people are working at home.
They're working remotely, and that brings a whole
vulnerability.
Opens up a whole new can of worms, because you have something called bring your own device, BYOD. That means people are using their own laptops, their own iPads, their own computers
instead
to
of the
access
company.
the company's infrastructure. Meaning those machines are not set up properly with security to allow you to be confident on the network secure.
Sure. And what about the cameras? That little camera was in that little girl's bedroom, and he starts saying, she says, he's talking to her. So who are you? I'm Santa Claus. I'm watching this little girl dress and undress, these creeps, Yeah. And should I be worried? Now, my show is on Alexa. If you say, Alexa, open Vero's voice, anywhere in the world, we're there. But Barbara, my wife, she doesn't want Alexa in the house, because she's, I don't want them listening to me. Then we have a boring life. But do we have to be careful about Alexa? Do we have to be careful about what's the Google guy or whatever they call it?
Google. The Google Home devices.
Google Home.
They're not. So they're less likely to be hacked. They're pretty well secured from Amazon and from Google. They are listening. I mean, that's how they're getting your details for your ads and stuff like that. What I recommend is you set them up on a separate network. You can segment your network, have your IT professionals segment your network, so you have a network for IoT devices, Internet of Things devices.
What's IoT?
Internet of Things. So that would be like your DVD players, your TVs, your Google Homes, Alexa, stuff like
Separate,
that.
Dishwasher.
Separate that from your computer and stuff like that. If those devices get compromised, they can compromise.
I was up
the rest of
visiting
your
my
network.
nephew in Connecticut. We were talking, it was a couple of summers ago, we're talking about corn on the cob. So Uncle Rhett goes back to the hotel, the phone rings. He said, hey, Uncle Rhett, remember we were talking about corn on the cob? He's 50 years of age, this guy, and works in your industry. He said, I just got 3 advertisements on how to prepare recipes how to prepare corn on the cob. So the thing was, listen, well, look, we're out of time for today. Now, the title of the book is Managing Your Business Risk in the Cybersecurity Minefield, featuring Brian Artigas. How do people get a copy of your book?
You can get it from Amazon.
Okay, it's available on Amazon. And the other new book is right here. And this is called Why Your Business Must Have Cybersecurity Risk Assessments. And it's a Brian Artigas. Now, if they just put in the word Brian Artigas, is that one they can remember and they'll see the both books?
Yes, I'm an Amazon author.
Okay, great. So Brian Artigas, Artigas, Why Your Business Must Have Cybersecurity Risk Assessments. Learn the reasons why from 14 cybersecurity risk experts. So the expert went to the other experts, and it's looks like it's going to be a fun read.
Yes, it is.
But thank you for coming up here and being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And welcome back to Vero for your visit. Jürgen from ACT Computers, ACT Computers. Thank you for bringing in
you're welcome.
your friend and guest.
Thanks so much for having us.
All right, this is the Mayor of the Airwaves. We got to take a break. Remember, someone somewhere needs your random act of kindness. As it is written, give unto others. Your light will rise out of the darkness like the noonday sun. Again, you can Google Brian Artigas. Brian Artigas. All right, cybersecurity. Thanks for listening.